Hello everyone and welcome to a slightly different video. As you can tell, there's no gameplay footage, it's just me on camera. Now you can tell by the video title that it's not the best of videos, but I think it's something that has to be said. You guys have sent messages in the comments, in private messages, on the live streams as well, that the FIA is no longer fun. I go on GT Planet, I go on other forums as well. The FIA events are no longer fun. I have said on live stream my personal opinion that the FIA events at the moment are no longer fun. When they used to be fun, they used to be a highlight of my week. I used to think, yes, let's get home, let's have a cracking race. And unfortunately, we can't do that. So if you are from Polyphony Digital, Gran Turismo, FIA, maybe you don't know who I am. I like to see myself as being at the forefront of the GT community. I've made videos for years and years and years to help people get faster, to have fun racing, exciting racing in the Gran Turismo community. And literally, I've been playing Gran Turismo since I was 6 or 7 years old. I've been involved in GT Academy, all the World Tours. I'm going to the next one as well. I've been in the World Final. I've done everything really I can do in Gran Turismo. When it's been possible, I have tried my best, and I've pretty much made it there. I was even at the reveal event, which was an absolutely cracking experience as well. So that's who I am. Let's get into some of the problems that you guys have messaged me, who watch the videos every week. And let's really just, pinpoint the problems. Let's bring some solutions to the table, because there are solutions to these problems. And you know what? If anything, just solve the first point, because the first point is the biggest point, and that's tyre wear. My word, the tyre wear is killing the racing. If not, it's killed the racing. Now, occasionally you get odd examples, like in the recent race actually, where suddenly you've got loads of cars next to each other, but in reality, it would have been where SVDR, congratulations SVDR by the way on that victory, would have been, which was 5-6 seconds up the road. Instead, we had a bit of a group where somebody was defending for their lives. Now, the tyre wear, and you can see this in comments everywhere, is just killing the racing, because we're at times 15 plus tyre wear, which means 15 laps worth of tyre wear in one lap. Now, as you continue the race, you wear your tyres more, you start overturning the car, you start getting a bit of oversteer. That can go to 25 laps worth of tyre wear in one lap, and it's insane because some cars aren't balanced for it. I'll give you an example. A Peugeot Group 4 car, there isn't a chance that car will win a race in any season. Even if Lightning was using it, there's not a chance it would win a race, because the tyre wear is so extreme, and it's obvious. In Oceania, only 4 drivers at the moment, I believe, have picked Peugeot. 4. So they don't even have a chance of even qualifying in the manufacturer series, irrespective of who's driving for them. And it's because of the tyre wear, and other cars have the same problem. My TT suffers with the front tyres. So, in the Red Bull Ring race, I couldn't compete with the non-stoppers. Fortunately, we got a bit lucky, the fact that there was a big battle going on in the last race. But normally, you can't fight them. Same in other races, the Toyotas and the Alphas, they're dominating some of these races just because of the tyre wear, and in the hands of the good drivers who really excel in some of this stuff, they're unstoppable. In fact, we saw at one point, it was RC Moira, he came second in the top split lobby. It was 2.9k points, but because the tyre wear was so good in that car, he rejoined and won the next race. Literally getting 3k, upgrading those points. Seems insane to me that the tyre wear is deciding who wins a race and who loses a race, rather than the driver. And we're out there to race. I play Gran Turismo to race. I don't play it to play some form of tyre wear simulator. I don't watch Formula 1 because of the tyre wear. They're not driving 100%. I want to watch and be a part of 100% flat out racing, start to finish. Now, I understand that tyre wear, there is some strategy involved. And of course, we want some strategy in these races. But at the moment, because it's metacar after metacar, and that's it, who will win the race, it's not racing. We're not racing each other. We're trying to survive. And that is ridiculously bad. Because we're trying to survive and not race, people are losing the experience of racing. And it's, as I say, the participation levels are going down in these races. It's not fun. People are saying, I'm not doing this anymore. I can't be bothered with just trying to save tyres all the time, driving like Miss Daisy. I want to be driving flat out as fast as I can. Maybe thinking about tyres a little, but my main focus is racing. Can I catch the opponent in the head? Can I overtake them? But if you try and do that now, aggressive driving, you're not gonna get anywhere, because your tyres will fall off faster. They'll go off the cliff faster. That second you may have gained, you now lose 2 seconds because your tyres are completely gone. It's absolutely bonkers. So, if anything in this video, the one thing that needs to be looked at and taken seriously is the tyre wear. Because if it doesn't change, it's going to be game over. I mean, personally for me, I'm not finding it fun at the moment. At the end of this year, there's a potential I will stop racing the FIA events because the tyre wear is so extreme. I don't want to do a race and be like, I can't race you because your tyre wear is better than mine, so you can just go off into the distance. I'll drive at half my pace just to try and survive and get 3rd, 4th, 5th place. It's not racing to me. Definitely not racing. I don't like it. It needs changing. And we're going a little bit onto the fuel as well. Of course, we have the fuel burning issue in qualifying. So I've put tyre and fuel together. And we can solve both of these problems. So I'm bringing solutions to the table as well as, describing the problems here. So obviously we have this issue with fuel burning. I don't even know how many minutes I've fuel burned this year, but I guarantee it's probably over a day's worth of fuel burning. 24 hours. If you lined up all the fuel burning I did, over 24 hours, guaranteed. That's nuts. I shouldn't have to do that to race or qualify. Absolutely bonkers. So let's give you a solution now. Let's give you a way to solve it. Now, some of the top drivers in EMEA, and I think maybe some of the American drivers as well, came along to some testing. What parameters would work in the FIA events? So, big shout out to Jomas. I came up with the initial idea of setting the fuel level. Jomas then looked at the tyre wears and stuff, combined all the aspects, did some test races, and I can tell you now they were some of the most fun races I've had in a long while. So, to give you an idea, we used some single figure tyre multipliers, so ×4 to ×6 around that area. Far more fun. In fact, one race, there was 3 cars wide constantly around the track, fighting each other. We had pit stops. The overcut suddenly could work. The overcut doesn't work at the moment because of the way tyre wear is. The undercut worked. I span, but I could get back on track and still race. My tyres were a little bit worse for wear than the other drivers, but they weren't 40 laps worse further wear, from spinning. I could actually get on and go, okay, maybe my tyres are a little bit worse now because I've span, but I can now try and push on and maybe gain a few positions, which I did, but it wasn't them fighting for the victory, which is perfect. That's how it should be. But then you're saying, well, where would the pit stop be if it's only ×4, ×6 tyre multiplier? The strategy involved. And I realise some people like strategy. Personally, I like it when there's no fuel and tyres and I can just flat out 100%. But the strategy is when you set the fuel in the lobby. So we put fuel to between 40 and 55%. We tried different things actually. We actually tried to make a 2-stop viable in some circuits, but 2-stop's a bit extreme anyway with the length of the races. So we set it to 40 to 50%. Suddenly you don't have to fuel burn in qualifying because you do a lap, you're already then low, maybe 45, 40%. Maybe you fuel burn for a lap, then come in, and you still get 2 flying laps, but you're not fuel burning for 9 minutes to get 1 lap in, and you especially have to do that in the EMEA. So set that fuel to 40 to 50%, qualifying is sorted, and then the race, 40 to 50% fuel is not enough to get to the end. So now you're going, okay, what about just saving fuel? Well, if you set the fuel multiplier low enough where they still run out of fuel by the end of the race, but they have to pit to get fuel, suddenly you're going, okay, now I can get some clean tyres and maybe push myself a little bit. Maybe I don't get to clean tyres and I just fuel the car up quick. New strategy in there. Maybe the guy in front of me pits early and I go, right, I'm going to go for 1 extra lap, I'm slightly quicker, I'm going to go for the overcut. Or maybe I come in early and try and go for the undercut. All those strategies became viable suddenly. And suddenly we've got loads of different things happening and everybody's actually really enjoying it. Everybody who participated in those test races loved it to bits. They were all, everyone was having a laugh and good time. It was actually fun. And tyre strategy was still in there. Fuel strategy was in there. Overcut now works. We still had the undercut. And people are actually thinking about stuff. Going 2 extra laps maybe. You could spin, still survive. Unbelievable, honestly. It was one of my favourite experiences with short races, but still having the tyre strategy in there. But, do you know what it also helps with if we did this? Balance of performance. Because we've seen in the daily races, when there's no tyre wear, the Audi R8 Group 3 car is suddenly unstoppable. All those sort of MR cars with tyre wear, unstoppable suddenly. They're a rocket ship down the straight and handle amazingly. Well, suddenly we can balance the performance them for the manufacturer series and the daily races because now their tyres aren't going to go off so extreme that we have to make them more powerful. We can suddenly bring that power back a little bit and suddenly all the cars are a bit closer again. Which, of course, means everybody gets a more enjoyable experience in daily races and the FIA races. It also helps communities You know, all the other communities, it's been said before, there's more drivers doing communities than racing in the FIA races. Well, suddenly they can use the balance of performance options because now the cars are going to be more equal again. Don't get me wrong, some circuits will suit other cars, and you know, some cars might be a bit further down the list, but they'll be much closer than they are now. When you look at it now, it's so extreme, the tyre wear, that you can't balance the performance. You know, whoever balances the performance at GT, you know, they can only do their best job that they can with the situation, which is extreme tyre wear, which is very, very hard. Very, very, very hard. So, you know, if you reduce that tyre wear, you suddenly reduce some of the problems that you are having. But in addition to that, one also possible solution that you could add into all of this, so maybe you take that and you add in addition, is longer races. Now, the daily races, I accept, maybe shouldn't be super long, right? Some people want longer daily races, other people don't. But why not make the FIA races longer? I don't understand the point of having an 18-minute race. Let's make it 30 minutes. Let's make it 40 minutes. Does it really matter? 40 minutes, low multipliers. Let's have a good solid race. That way, if you make a mistake, you can catch up to the guys in front. Catch up and potentially even have a battle if you make that mistake. You can then try the overcut, the undercut. Maybe you go for a two-stop strategy because it's faster over the two stints. I don't know. But again, overcut, undercut, still in there. Strategies are in there. Longer races. I think the FIA is more suited to longer races than the daily races. And that would, personally, for me, that would make everything so much better. So much better. So please, if any of these points that I make going forward in this video, or just that point alone, tyre wear, please change it. Please change it. Because at the end of the season, or the end of this year, I probably won't be continue racing if the tyre wear is still this extreme. I imagine quite a lot of people are not going to continue racing if the tyre wear stays this extreme. Guys, if you've got any comments on that, please leave them in the comments below. We're going to go on to point 2 now. I'm hoping I can send this off to PD and GT and they read it. So if you have got points or opinions about this, put them in the comments. Hopefully they can read those as well, and hopefully we can get more solutions. So the second problem with the FIA at this moment in time is the point system. Now, when you do esports or races or whatever it might be, a championship, which is what the FIA is, you want to look at doing the best you can. Where are you now? So potentially you might be, my wheel's deciding it wants to move. Interesting. So where are you now? Okay, that's solved. So where are you now in the FIA Championship? Are you top 100 in your country? And now the next season you want to now get in the top 50 or top 40 or top 30 or top 10 or be that number one driver in your country. Well, at the moment, it's very hard to determine where you actually are. So let me explain. And I can only explain this from an A+ perspective because I'm racing the top splits. But this happens in every lobby, I'm sure, because I've seen people write comments. I've seen it on the point system. Say I race in a top split lobby and I've just beaten the best guys in the world. But I've still come 5th. So maybe, top 4 beat me to whatever. But I still beaten Lightning, Giorgio, and a few other guys. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But I've beaten some of the best guys in the world. I've still come 5th. I've had a brilliant race. Best race of my life. And I only get 2,000 points. Split 2, the winner gets 2,800 points. Split 3, the winner gets 2,600 points. Split 4, you get 2,400 points. Split 5, 2,200. Suddenly I'm rating split 6 in the championship. I've just come 5th in the top split lobby. Yet when I look at the championship results, I could be down in 30th or 40th. I mean, what? How does that make sense? How does that make sense? So what we're seeing lately in some of these series is that people are purposely dropping their driver rating to get into the second split, the third split, the fourth split. And that's all to get better points. Because, in reality, and no offence to any driver in that fourth split or fifth split, if I got in that fourth or fifth split, I can guarantee you I would have a lot easier time at getting well over 2,000 points than in the top split lobby. And nobody in that top split lobby should get 0 points. That is a matter of a fact. I have no idea who thought that would be a good idea. Or even 100 points. Imagine getting 100 points. You're being beaten by pretty much 99% of the play base doing FIA at the moment. What? It doesn't make sense. And this happens throughout all the splits. So, I've written stuff down here. A-rated drivers are being beaten by B-rated drivers. B are being beaten by C. C by D. D by E. Everyone is being beaten by driver ratings below. And that shouldn't happen. That really shouldn't happen. Why is it happening? I don't understand it. In the top 16 superstar races now, are pointless. Literally, if you're not in top 3, you might as well not even bother. So if you're with the Tyre Wear as well, as we mentioned previously, if you're not in the meta car, don't bother. What's the point? Because you're going to get lower points than in the second split. And then potentially, you'll come a lot further down, because obviously you're going to have the top drivers in. You might come 10th. You're now racing, you could be an S-class driver and racing C-class drivers in the championship. You've no real sense of where you are in this championship. How can you see yourself or place yourself in this championship when the points are so random and so varied? Seems insane to me. So exaggerated as well in terms of EMEA, because EMEA is so competitive. Other regions don't have this problem as much, I accept, but EMEA, oh my word, the regions all over the place, and it really needs to be looked at. So, again, I bring solutions to the table. I don't just bring the problems. First off, we need to stop the tanking of DR. I don't know how you solve that other than fixing the point system. So, I've got 3 in mind that you could use. The first one is probably the one I favour. If you've got any other ideas, please post them in the comments below. But for the first one, base points for each lobby based on the average DR. So, for example, maybe the average lobby DR in the split you're in is 70k plus. Maybe they get 1,000 points base, and then the multiplier is reduced going up. So where we have a 200 point gap between positions, maybe it's like 50 point gap and it goes up. So maybe it's 1,500 points as a base, and then maybe 65k plus average DR, then it goes to 1,400 base or 1,300 base or 1,200 base. It's reduced, but that then makes sure that a top split lobby driver doesn't get 0. It seems mad that they get 0. They could have the best race of their life versus the best guys in the world, not make any mistake, have a total race time which is unbelievable and would dominate other splits, and they get 0 points. Seems nuts. Seems absolutely bonkers. So we could do that average DR base points sort of thing that could be put into the game, and that at least then levels out the lobbies. That would also help for potentially later slots where the lobbies are slightly easier. The average DR is lower. That way the base points aren't as high, but you still have a chance of getting decent points. You don't necessarily have the chance of getting the best points because the DR isn't as high, which is fair enough. It's an easier lobby. It's an easier race. But then, at least, if you're in the strongest race possible, top 16 superstars is a perfect example. If you're in one of the strongest lobbies possible, you are not losing out then. So that's my favourite option. Now, there is other options. So I've put, don't list the points. Save all the results. So say I come first in the first split. Lightning comes first in the second split. And Koke comes first in the third split. I'm just random results there. Put them all together, okay, and then we go. Okay, what position did you come in? So all these guys came first. What split were you in? Okay, you were in the top split. Here's a formula to work out a set amount of points because you did that. But even if you come 20th in that situation, you go, well, you're still a top split. That's a part of the formula, so you do get some points here. And that way you may be able to level it out a little bit. It may result in a lot of tied scores, so that's a bit of a problem with it, but still an idea to do it. And then the final one, which I'm not so fond of, but I did suggest ages and ages ago, and that's give points based on total race times. Say 5,000 drivers compete in that particular round. That's 5,000 points on the card, or whatever it might be, 5,000 points. If your total race time is 30th, you get the 30th highest points. Work it all out. Give everyone points, happy days. The problem with that though is, of course, people will then not race. They'll then try and push each other along, get the fastest overall race time, and do it that way. And we want to see racing. We play Gran Turismo to race. So that's a third option, but I go with the first one. Base points based on the average DR in the lobby. That works out some base points, and then the point gaps then going up in terms of positions is smaller. And that way people can really fight for positions as well. That'd be really handy. So that's the second point. That is making the FIA less fun, because you have no idea where you are. You don't know where to compete. Do you tank your DR, which is bad anyway, but do you tank your DR to get more points to basically artificially raise yourself higher in the country's ratings or in the championship ratings? I don't know. It's a big problem though, especially in EMEA, I've got to say. It's a huge problem in the EMEA at the moment, which is the region I race in. There's 5 regions, of course. So the final one is one that some people will dislike and some will like. Now, personally, everyone I speak to about this preferred the old style FIA, and we've had this in the game before, which is the problem at the moment of unlimited entries. So what do we mean by unlimited entries? We mean that, for example, on one evening there are 3 rounds of nations, and you can enter all 3. So if you do bad in the first one, you enter the second one. If you do bad in the second one, you enter the third one, and hope to get a good result in the third one. Now they did sort of counter this a little bit by saying the last result you do is the points you get, not the overall best one, because when it was the overall best one, it was insane. You just do all of them and then hope for the best. Now, the one problem with this is that when they first introduced it, the excitement of FIA was slightly lost. If you watch some of my previous streams, it's always the excitement. I've got one chance in Nations Cup or Manufacturer Series for that round to get a good result. One chance. Now, if I fail, that round's over. I can't count that. If I succeed, my word, the feeling is amazing. I've just had my one shot at getting some decent points in Nations or Manufacturer Series, as I say. One shot. It was so exciting. It's unbelievable. Daily races, do them as much as you want, but that one shot at FIA. And you know what? I understand why it's brought in initially with the disconnects, because there was a lot of disconnects happening, but only 1/3 of the rounds count in these championships. If you disconnect once, it's not the end of the world. It used to be with superstar races, don't get me wrong. Now it's not. Let's take away that factor, and suddenly it might actually help the point system that we just talked about, because suddenly not everybody's diving into every lobby and the points start to lower themselves. So, you know, we start to get a bit more of a standard system about like we had previously, because that point system wasn't an issue prior, or it was slightly, but nothing major. Now it's major. So, you know, unlimited entries is causing problems. In addition to that, it causes more crazy driving, because you go, right, okay, this is the first race of the day. I'm going to go all out extreme, get the maximum points. Boom, I'm going to dive bomb, I'm going to do whatever, I'm going to crash into it. Oh no, I've got a penalty. Oh, well, doesn't matter, I've got another race in an hour or so, I can do it again. And people are doing multiple races. So then they get to the last race, and then it's desperation. So the middle race is usually the best race to do, because people are like, okay, I've only got one more chance after this. Let's just make it clean, let's get some decent points on the board. The last race, oh my word, can be carnage, because everyone's fighting for those last points. And again, they've already done 2 races, so now they're really desperate to get some points. So there's a big, big push to get those final points. So again, that needs sorting out, in my opinion. And if you only have one chance in this championship at that series, you go, should I really make this move to get 100 extra points? Or should I just take the 100 less points and think about the next round of the championship? Suddenly, you know, people start to think a little bit. Now you might go, well, that's against racing, but it's not. We just have this problem at the moment where unlimited entries just mean unlimited time and everything else. And that's the other thing with this. Unlimited time. Some people are playing now 6, 7, 8, 9 hours a day. It's not healthy. No, not healthy at all. And you got to remember, the people who are playing this aren't just people with no jobs. There are people with jobs. There are people with families. You know, people that have got to spend time with family and stuff. They only want that one chance to race. Now, if, for example, they have one chance, they go to the 11 o'clock slot for Manufacturer Series. If they're racing guys who's done the 2 previous slots, played all day as well, they're going to be at a disadvantage. Such a disadvantage, what's the point of them even racing? And then you look at point 2, the point system broken. So suddenly, they're already at a disadvantage. They're now not getting as much points as some of the drivers in split 2, 3, 4, 5. What's the point in racing? So, you know, time issues, the fact that people are now, you know, can do what they want really in terms of actions in the first race and the last race. You know, desperation in the last race. First race, it's I don't care, there's other races I can do. It's an issue. It's an issue in my opinion. And there was excitement just for the fact you had one shot. There really was. So in my opinion, they need to get rid of this unlimited entries, bring it back to a one shot. Bring it back to a one shot, and I think you'll start to see some cleaner driving and the excitement, the buzz of the FIA return as well. Obviously, that's the solution, is the one shot entry. Now, I know this video might be a bit controversial, but as I say, the main one I would love anyone to listen to who's got any say in this championship is the Tyre Wear. Just seriously, focus on starting the lobby. It's a lobby setting, by the way. 40% fuel, put the tyre multiplayers down to times 4 or 5. Let's see the racing. Let's see what actually happens. Test it, honestly, because you'll actually see some better racing and more strategies than you can think of. You want strategies in racing? You'll have the overcut, the undercut. Do I pit now? Do I save a bit of fuel, then pit later? You know, just please think of it. Do I change tyres? Because you don't even have to change tyres in some situations. You just have to refuel. So in one of our practice races, Thomas didn't change tyres, and at the end it was a fight for the line. It was unbelievable. He saved a bit of time not saving tyres. They caught up on the fresher tyres. Big old battle. But please sort out the tyre wear. The point system needs looking at as well. And unlimited entries, please just turn it back to 1 entry. They're my big gripes, and you know, a lot of you guys have said the same gripes. You know, across those tyre wears, everybody, and then the others, obviously, certain issues with certain people. But honestly, if people knew where they stood in the championship, because DR doesn't matter at the moment, it's just where you finish. You know, you can get 2k points in the 6th split or 5th split. Might as well tap my DR and get those points. So yeah, they're the issues. You know, let's get the excitement back in the FIA. Let's please do it. And yeah, let's just solve the problem, and let's have a fantastic, you know, rest of the season. And next year, let's have a bloody good season where we can actually race. So that's it for me, guys. I hope you've maybe not enjoyed the video, but at least listened. Please put your comments below. I want to send this off, and hopefully it's listened to. Or you know, even if it's listened to and they understand the problems, maybe they can't action it. I don't know. But it'd be good that you know, they can read comments as well. Constructive comments, guys. If there's any abuse that's fired at GT or PD or FIA or anyone, I will remove those comments, because we don't want abuse. We want constructive criticisms and just general, you know, feelings and opinions. But yeah, that's going to be it for me for now, guys. Thanks very much for watching. I will see you in the next video.